perspective, both as a practitioner and a patient battling autoimmune condition for over 25 years, because I had to figure things out on my own, and my education in my practical approach as a patient allows me to truly integrate it so that you can be whole and the burden of sick care is no longer your own burden to carry. And this is what we help you with in this podcast.
Hi, this is Mind Your Health podcast with me, Dr. Connie, and we have a very special guest today. Her name is Hanbi Hong. She's a nurse practitioner, and the whole theme is all about feeling unfulfilled in conventional medicine. We share a lot of ideologies, me and Hanbi, and we share the same heritage, really. We're both Korean, second generation, really 1.5, we should say. And we bring a lot of knowledge, but like through that knowledge, we learned how limiting conventional medicine is. Super excited to have her on this show today. Here's Hanbi. Hanbi, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do right now.
Well, as she introduced, my name is Hanbi. I work as a nurse practitioner at internal medicine office. I've been working there for about 6 years. And then I would more see geriatric patients since my supervising doctor, he's a geriatric specialist. So that's what I've been doing for the last 6 years. Yeah.
Amazing. So you've been practicing for the last 6 years.
Yeah, I work as a cardiothoracic step-down unit nurse in Tennessee. Worked there about 3 years. Then I went to nurse practitioner school, graduated, moved to Georgia, and then worked as a internal medicine since then.
Yeah. And tell me how you came to love and pursue yoga in the way that you did.
Yeah, so the ever first time I actually took yoga class was in 2017 when I was in Tennessee. It was actually by accident. I meant to go to bar class, not interested in yoga whatsoever. But then there was just like a hot room, and then I went in there, and this is this whole new world, and I immediately fell in love with the yoga. And then just thinking back, like why did I really start like obsessed about yoga? I realized that first, the best different thing about yoga with other fitness or exercises, they always ask you about setting the intention, which we really hard to do, rarely do in our daily lives. Do I ever set an intention to wake up, intention to eat something, intention to talk with somebody? I don't do. I just leave. I push it to wake up, push it to eat breakfast and go to work. But at yoga, I sat down and the teacher started saying, okay, set an intention for today's practice. Oh, do I get to set the purpose of what I do? That's really nice. So that's first thing that really different from other just fitness or weightlifting or other exercise. Gave me a little hard about that. And most thing is that because I'm not a really fitness person, I have really zero muscles, not really strength, and also struggle with a lot of coordination and movement. But with the yoga practice, most of the instructors always pair the cue with breathing. Like inhale with this movement, exhale. That gave me really better idea of controlling my body and then having about mindful movement, which was easier for me to access than other like cardio exercises to begin with. So those are the, I think, little points that like made me to move my heart towards yoga.
Yeah. So I know that you have a long history of working in nurse practitioner, and that's been something that really, we talk about how it pays the bills, but you spend so much time as a nurse practitioner in conventional medicine setting, like you said, in geriatrics. Can you describe what that experience was like and why you started to feel unfulfilled?
So since it's the internal medicine, primary care based geriatric, I see like variety kinds of all the complaints and conditions, but mostly manage chronic disease such as like hypertension, diabetes, and hyperlipidemia. So those will be most of my job. And I start to feel unfulfilled about my job because I realize I can rarely satisfy my patients. There are often many of times they will be frustrated, depressed, even sometimes mad at me with my service, even though I tried my best to be authentic myself, trying to give them best resource whatsoever. Still, they ended up being very depressed, frustrated. So I was thinking, what can I do more? So I try to do, change my language, better attitude, higher voice, more resources, conference with my supervisor doctor and other co-MPs. Still, no matter how much I tried to do more, I couldn't feel that I'm being really useful. So I felt really helpless and unworthy over there, even though how much I do, like I was not feeling practically helping the people. So that's the point I started feeling like I'm really unfulfilled from this job.
Was there like a specific moment or experience that made you realize that this practice wasn't giving you the joy and fulfillment that you knew that you had to seek something else?
Well, so there's like I get a lot of like because it's a healthcare, many of the patients are forced to be there out of necessity. They're not really open to get new, and then it's a chronic care management. So I'm not really curing them or healing them, but trying to hold them there or slowing down the disease process. That's the best I can do.
Wow, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. And then so even though I did my part, which is prescribing a medication, referring patient to the specialist, which I learned from the school, that is my job, still they will be like, okay, that's what you got offered, like, so you're not going to help me. Then I'll feel like unfair to myself in the first. Well, I just did everything I can do to you. Like I gave you the prescription, I refer you to the right person, and you're still mad at me. But later I'll think about this person who having these symptoms or condition more than 10 years or slowly going down. And I was just giving them, well, let's try this medication. If it doesn't work, then go to the specialist. I don't know what he's gonna do. So I could feel like they will be disappointed from the points, and then my heart feelings were hurted from their words. But still, in the deep down my heart, I could understand why they would be so frustrated, and I was like trapped inside this back end. I cannot really blame them, or I cannot really help myself or themselves. So I started feeling like, oh, like how am I supposed to spend more 40 or 50 more years to do this job to get just money and not really be helpful about people?
Yeah. So that's one component. But I think we started to talk about how I think it was a time when you and I were talking about like eating habits, and we were talking about your gut issues, and then you had made it a point to sort of talk about how you were always rewarded as a nurse to inhale the food as quickly as you can and keep you on your feet and go on to the next task. And so you didn't know any different, but when you started to have the gas and bloating and unusual weight gain, you started to question like, why do I feel so sucky? And then I think you kind of said, well, it was a simple solution that your traditional Chinese medical doctor gave you was to simply chew the food like so many times and really focus on eating the food. So tell me about that and how that's changed everything about you and the way you approach food.
Yeah. So, I have a really bad habit of like sucking up or eating food so fast. And then I start feeling really bloated and then having a hard time. And so I've tried like a variety of different medication to help with my digestion and everything. And deep inside my heart, I knew that I have to chew slower and be mindful about eating. But then when I met this Chinese doctor, he said, just chew at least 40 times per bite, which still I cannot do. But having that goal 40 bite kind of really slows me down eating. And I lost about like 6 pounds since I started practice 40 times of chewing eating. So this kind of, I wanted to mention like most of my patients that I see, chronic care management, they're pathological issues, but a lot of them come from the functional issues, such as indigestion, dizziness, headache,
patients who are conditioned to think that way, but everybody knows in the system that it's just not helping anybody. Yes. And so when you really look at it, what I hear you say is the underlying theme was there was a lot of anxiety in your job. There was a lot of stress that led to a habitual inhaling of the food. And that was the norm for you. And for a long time, you didn't understand. And you were sitting there because I know many people, and I know you're one of the smartest people. We're so smart, but yet we don't really recognize because we don't see, like we talked about right before this episode, it's like sometimes it's so common sense that you don't even think about that, right? And so when you think about it, would it be safe to say all your chronically ill patients, we talk about this, they're looking for solutions in all the wrong places, right? Because you tell me all the time, it's like, the medical system will give you what we're trained to give you. It's a referral out of medication. And hopefully you'll get to the solution. But like you said, it's always about managing that chronic disease so that it doesn't get any worse. About the extent of it. There is no health and wellness or preventative measures that we take. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. So knowing that, like, what made you finally decided to go into functional yoga medicine certification? Because you first went through functional yoga medicine, yoga teacher training. You started to teach yoga. And I do know that you've said to me on many occasions, you found yourself after work, you're so stressed out going to work. But then when you come into the yoga studio, it's like your happy place.
Yes.
So tell me about that decision that you made in pursuing further studies, functional yoga medicine certification.
So I found this difference because I've been stressed a lot from my current work. Like I'll be on my tiptoes, trying to push myself, be more sensitive, more vigilant. But then still I saw like, but people are not really satisfied with my service. Like, what can I do more, pushing myself. And then at a certain point, like, oh, well, I cannot do anything more. Just me, I will just give up. But then later first over, I went to yoga teacher training, not because I want to be a yoga instructor, but I wanted to learn more because that's how much I love. And after that, I got the opportunity from the yoga studio to start teaching. Then I came back to realize that the teaching yoga at the studio didn't really feel like anything kind of work. It was like my happy place over in and they come to me and then somehow I'm being happy, but Connie gives me money. Like, why? Doesn't feel like working. So then I realized why, because I'm still doing the client or patient interaction. Either way, at the yoga studio, they're still my student and members. I give them information, knowledge. I share them what I know. Same thing, which is higher medical knowledge, which I gave to the my patients in the office. Still kind of same interaction, but have a different feeling with me, and realize that the patient's expectations are kind of different. Where at the internal medicine or doctor's office, they are forced to be there out of necessity, and they are usually scared, anxious, and because of their previous history with other interaction with the healthcare provider, they're more defensive about it. Even though I have this much resources and my authentic heart tried to give to them, but they were still, I was really having a hard time helping them when they not really accepting the help. They're being more defensive about it. But at the studio, they also still find me, reaches me first, but with more open mind, want to learn, eager to get better. So they are there to be better, to improve themselves about wellness, of that kind of concept. They are like searching for it. And when they are ready to get the help and I give the help that they needed or whatever I can share, then they get the experience, and that actually really satisfied me a lot. Like, I don't care about the part, but I'm happy whenever they're like, oh yeah, they got the new thing. I'm like, yay! So those things will really make me different. Like, oh, okay, so I want to learn more of this holistic care approach, because all these like functional problems or other chronic care management requires a lot of time and resource, which, to be realistic, there's a limitation in current conventional medicine to spend that much time with a single patient, only study about them and individualizing the care plan, which is really hard. And just the system, how it limited. But then with the knowledge from functional yoga medicine and other holistic care approach, I can deepen or close the gap where like from the conventional medicine system, many people feel like neglected, underdiagnosed or overdiagnosed. And then the holistic care can fill the gap between that. We keep covering the comprehensive aspects of the part. So I think that's the kind of why I moved my heart and wanted to pursue more, spending more of my time and money to learn more about the system.
Yeah. And so I just want to ask you personally, for you, how has the practice of yoga, all training aside, how has the practice of yoga changed you and your own health and your own management with your issues and really stress and anxiety?
Yeah. So there are like a certain few words I really love to use to myself and in my class. Number 1 is body awareness. Number 2, intention. 3, breathing. And be mindful. So the body awareness is the first time I get the concept from yoga practice. Then I was very blind. The typical Korean girl who moved to the America to learn English and get a job, we don't really get a chance to be body aware, being aware of myself. Even am I anxious? Am I stressed? Am I shrugging my shoulders up, walking on my tiptoes all day? I'm not aware. I wasn't aware if my shoulders are up. I was like, people would say, relax. And I'll be like, I'm relaxed. I'm not angry. So I don't really see myself. But then at the yoga, on your mat, in listening to the yoga instructor, and then bring the awareness. Notice how your shoulders feel. Notice if you're fully inflating your lung into breathe in, breathe out, or you're just shallowing breathing over here, getting tippy-toe. So those yoga practice really changed my life, being aware of my current body system and just knowing aware that how I am feeling right now, it actually make a huge difference. Not because I got more flexible, more stronger, but being aware, oh, today I'm tense over here. Today I feel a little bit of cramp on my stomach. That being aware of my current condition actually deepens of understanding of myself and noticing like, oh, which part I want to go, which kind of universe I want to be included in. So I think that was the big difference before I know yoga and then after I started yoga.
Would it be safe to say that now you have the tools to like sort of manage your stress in the most productive way you know how?
Yes, yeah. And so now I know I can notice when in my work I'm more tense and then I can stop myself. Oh, this is just not because sometimes when something happens, even though later I know that it's not really personal to me, it's not, but it's just about the situation. Still, whenever the situation happens, I get it personally. And I start feeling stressed and worried about it. But then I will notice those signs and symptoms or cues like I'm overly stressed of something that I cannot change it anyways. It's not up to me. Then I can notice that and use those of yoga. It can be yoga asana postures, pranayama, breathing practice, or other meditation affirmations. Those active tools, which I absolutely learned from the functional yoga medicine practice to regulate.
Yeah. So I just feel like as much as I know and learned a lot of the things, I feel like, because personally for me, I've battled some serious chronic conditions. Yeah. And I feel like there's something that happens when you're internally aware, you're self-aware, body awareness, that somehow or another your body starts to balance on its own. And when it starts to balance on its own, no amount of knowledge, not good doctors or nurse practitioners, they can't explain exactly why certain patients do so well. There is no explanation.
Yes.
So I tend to think like really medicine and really our health is not so logical at times. That the underpinning like habitual tendencies that we all carry, that I think what I'm hearing you say is it's the first time that yoga allowed you to be more intentional and be self-aware about the tension and just be aware of how you're carrying yourself. And when you can scan your body that way, be aware, like you can't go back to, like you said, this used to be the norm, but now you're like, oh no, this is not my norm. And I choose to be more relaxed because you're a lot more aware, because we really can't fix what we don't know. And I feel like most of the patients that you tell me about when we talk don't really have that body awareness. And they're just on this like anxiety, fix it. You can't fix it. You can't help me. And then they get angry at you.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's kind of a sad situation. And I think that's really what we do as functional yoga medicine practitioners is, like you said, we connect the dots, but integrate the whole body approach and then put the power in the patient's hands so that they can then learn the skills. And we're just there to teach them those skills because we know that that's what's going to get them out of the gutter of sickness, right?
Yes.
Amazing. You've mentioned feeling joyful every time you practice functional yoga medicine. Can you share what about functional yoga medicine certification that brings you so much joy, if you were to be very specific?
So it will be going back to the different patient group that I was saying, like they already come with the open-minded, ready to learn and everything. And so this is how even though I already mentioned this to you about like from nursing school, we all learn about holistic care, cognitive behavioral therapy, other complementary therapies. I just know the term, but didn't really think about really applying in real life. And actually didn't know what is mindful meditation, what is cognitive behavioral therapy. This is just one of the answer in my NCLEX licensure, which I would choose. But from the functional yoga medicine, it made me give, it's an actual tool, which I can apply to actual person, actual client base. That gives me the joy that I can apply, because if it was the same setting in my doctor's office, they paid for the insurance and doctor's visit, come there and then ask for weight loss or either diabetes control. If I don't prescribe them any diabetes medicine or weight loss medication and only start saying about, let's start with intuitive eating. Let's do meditation for your weight loss. Let's think about this exercise, everything. They will be mad at me. They will put like 0 star, right? Like she stole my visit fee or whatsoever. So I'm like forced to, even though I know there are certain, it's like a pizza on the pie. If you have a weight loss of this pizza as a problem, certain pieces will be from genetics, family history. Certain piece, her own diet and exercise factor. Certain piece, they're gonna be medication. There are some parts that medication must play and other things, but it's not the one piece. Medication cannot cover the whole picture. Her own exercise and or diet change, it cannot cover the whole picture. It should be from each by being a holistic care. I know this side from the heart within my knowledge, but there's still that 15 minutes of doctor's visit. I prescribe weight loss medication.
Yeah.
Do that. So that's a different joy that I could find from functional yoga medicine, where whenever I start talking about intuitive eating, affirmation, meditation, other helpful tools, which doesn't have a side effect, and they will be not being, what are you talking about? But they will be like, oh, and then they are like eager to learn. Whenever I give them a food journal template, like daily template for meditation, writing a diary, they will be really, oh, can I have the template? Okay, I'll start writing down and bring it back to you. So those kind of really productive interaction actually. Well, it seems productive to me, being me feel more worthy, useful, and giving a practical help to them.
Yeah. So the receptivity of your interventions is welcomed as opposed to questioning everything you say with negativity. Yeah. Yeah. That's got to take a toll on you. You had mentioned many times, like in your career, and I say to tell you this too, because I think you kind of know, like you're slowly dying because of your job. We talk about this, we joke about it, but I think there's so many nurses, because nursing is a hard job. And I think you guys really, really are the most amazing human beings. But I think the system just makes it so it's just so difficult to sustain, because most of the nurses in my program, and I attract a lot of nurse practitioners, as you know, and really pharmacists and even physician assistants. And they're just so dissatisfied with the system and like the same theme. And I just kind of feel like, what could be a better path forward for the career for them?
Well, like I cannot say for everyone, but just how I experienced with my case, because I feel like I was more burnt out quickly and dying inside myself, because the patient interaction from my current job setting was my only single universe. Whatever happened there was 100% of my life. Like I'm trying my best. I think I cannot get better, but still I'm not good at it. And I'm feeling depressed, feeling useless about it. But finding a different path for me, yoga and functional medicine here. Oh, there's a different type of patient interaction with the same knowledge that I can have. So this wouldn't be a truth, only one single universe, but I created another universe which I can help the both world, vice versa. From when in the internal medicine setting, all this functional medicine knowledge that I learned, I can apply to them, because I carry the chronic care management for weight loss, diabetes, hyperlipidemia, but also same as the functional medicine part with the conventional medical knowledge that I currently have. I can quickly sense the red flags or contraindications for certain yoga postures or hot yoga or other kind of things. So I can align both of them and creating there's no one single truth or this patient interaction should be only this way. There's no other way, but it can be other variety, and I can do more than just my current self gives me the part. So for other who same healthcare workers work for volunteer, for me finding this different path, knowing that there is an alternative option really helped me.
So is it fair to say that practicing functional yoga medicine in the way that you do right now, it sort of reignited your passion? Because at the end of the day, you got into nurse practitioner. We talk about to help people. But when it's the center of your universe and you're really not helping people other than check things off and be yelled at or deal with unsatisfied clients or patients versus you actually feeling productive and getting praises, because we have raving reviews about you at the studio. And I think it's just a different level of, I don't know, a different level of satisfaction and fulfillment you get. And so would you say that that's really fulfilled you in that way?
Yes, yeah, absolutely right.
Well, so let's talk a little bit about balancing both worlds, because you're one of the hardest person that I know, because you have a full-time job.
Yeah.
And you teach, a couple of classes for me, and then we have patients that that you can see on your time. And then the thing is, I'm always amazed because we do a lot of continuing education, because you're in the functional yoga medicine certification program. It's no joke. It's pretty curricular heavy. You keep up with everything. And on top of that, when I have additional training, you're so eagerly there to absorb everything. So I want to talk a little bit about balancing, because I feel like I'm one of those people too. I love learning for the sake of learning. And I would rather learn than sit at home and watch Netflix, So you're working full-time as a nurse practitioner in conventional medicine. And I want to ask you personally, how do you balance it all? Because you're doing a lot, because a lot of the reservations that I get from healthcare practitioners is they're scared to jump ship. And two, they're so scared, they're so burnt out already. Are they going to have enough time?
Yes.
Just speak on that a little bit, because you come full force and you're always 100% on, and you give me these I don't know, bright eyes, eager to learn every single time. And your works just comes through. So can you just kind of talk about the balance and how you approach that balance?
Yeah, I think it's a really good word, balance, that I use both of the universe to balance on each other. It's not that I noticed myself actually for the last 6 years. Before the last 6 years, I always have been studying something. Nursing school, nurse practitioner school, do something since started learning English move from Korea to Philippines, move to States and everything. Then after starting as a nurse practitioner, after work, I feel emptied and burnt out, and just stayed at home because I felt like I need recovery. I have to watch this show, eat this fancy food, or go somewhere for the vacation. But those always had a limitation. And it's my personality, and I'm forcing myself to be more sensitive in my work so that I can pick up mistakes so quickly, preventing everything. And that switch turn on never turns off. I try so much hard to turn the switch on, and I realized myself, I cannot turn off myself because I'm so onto it. So whenever I find after work at my home, I'll start thinking back again with the patient interaction, the medication I prescribed, how the lab was gone, why was the patient not satisfied with this, why that medication didn't work for this specific patient. And actually it was not really giving that much rest or recovery. It was actually draining a lot after the work, thinking about that part. So doing those continuing education with a functional yoga medicine, teaching a yoga to students is actually giving a circulation energy back to me. So I'm not putting extra doing. So my mom was like, Hanbi, what you're doing, you're not doing 3 jobs. You're working as a nurse practitioner, learning as a student, and also doing a yoga teacher. Why are you doing that to yourself? And this feels good to me. I feel more energized. And the thing is that with the interaction with my yoga student at the studio, interaction with our co-instructors, Christina, Jessica, and with you, Dr. Connie, gives me actually energy back. By teaching the yoga to the student, I'm not giving them, but the way how they synchronize their energy with me, whatever I'm offering to them, they're really eager to learn, gives me social energy. So that's kind of recovery for me. So that's how I use this part of word, balance my current job.
So what I'm hearing you say is that you really feel recharged.
Yes.
For the energy lost in your job, because what feels so unproductive over here, you feel so productive.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you see yourself in the future? And let's just kind of back up.
Mm.
We both talk about how the current conventional medical system is completely broken, and it's sort of like you can't change it because it's the system itself. It's not the doctors. It's not the practitioners. Patients have no idea. But I think you and I both know patients are slowly waking up to the fact that, well, you're not giving me all the answers.
Yes.
And so they're seeking all the other things. So what do you think the future of healthcare is? And how does functional yoga medicine fit into that picture?
So I view the future of healthcare as a just ongoing struggle between the system and the people. And so how I would say that there should be a good balance of merge between conventional, because we still need the system and the money and their finance and all this other support, but also merge them with those functional medicine practice to filling the gap. As I was saying, many people being neglected, underdiagnosed, or overdiagnosed, like those kind of population, they need a holistic approach to that. So how I would think about it, I just imagine, this is just my imagination, because I sometimes just stop and think about it. But I think even though currently I feel really burnt out and I want to leave the conventional medicine system, but deep down inside my heart, I know that that would be a right answer. I cannot really give up something or run away, but I have to spin it around how I view the things and everything. So continuing at the current healthcare system, but more people being aware of the importance of holistic approach and functional medicine needed in conjunction with the conventional medicine system, so then they will be able to eager to learn, then which could be there can be more finance. Like currently the biggest struggle is that your insurance covers your primary care doctor visit, but your insurance does not cover the visit with your nutrition specialist, with your yoga teacher, your Pilates teacher. You have to pay extra from out of pocket. That gives them a lot of first block for the access and approach to it. So when they're more aware of and lose more of the importance of these kind of holistic care approaches and more finance, so that many people can easily get the access to it. Where I can be saying that to while I'm consulting with the diabetes, hypertension, hyperlipidemia, other weight management, metabolic syndrome system, also have a knowledge of yoga, Pilates, functional medicine that I can conjunct together, and it can be included just in one visit, because it should be done with one medical insurance. Yeah.
I feel like really the ultimate goal is to equip more individuals with options.
Yes.
But then I feel like, there's premiums to be paid for health insurance, right? And I feel like, what is insurance? It's just in case, right? We're insured in catastrophic events.
Yes.
God forbid. And I do feel like there is a place for conventional medicine in acute and severe injury and severe disease. We need intervention. And so I feel like the cost spent at functional yoga medicine and the likes, holistic, that should be the health insurance
Yes.
towards your future, because I feel like our future selves depends on healthy bodies.
Yes.
I have experience of being bedridden and debilitated and feeling like I can't move because of my sickness in my body. And that is not fun. Not only is it expensive, but it's just really cost prohibited. And the charges that I get from the insurance companies on the visits to my doctors and my hospital stays, it's astronomical. So I want people to understand, this is it's like paying forward for tomorrow's health. And I feel like even though it's excess, people like you, people like me, I don't flinch an eye when I have to spend on something that's going to prevent me. And I feel like this education is so life-changing in that it helps you be skilled in protecting your own wellness and the rest of your life. And I feel like that is priceless. Would you agree?
Yeah.
What would you say to other healthcare practitioners? Because I have a lot of nurses, I have a lot of PAs, I have some doctors, physical therapists, and other like completely different backgrounds. They really want to jump ship to do something that is fulfilling for them. They're on the fence. They've looked at my program. What would you say to them as an encouragement to say, go forward and lean into your faith? Like, what would you say about the program to them?
Well, to my case, saying myself that I already knew this answer, I knew this fact down deep inside my heart, but I was just scared, and I tried so much time and money to get my current job and licensure. That was the first barrier. But just finding a different path, creating a different universe, so making your own universe more colorful, so that there won't be one single answer, because one single answer will always fail. Like there are gonna be other exceptions and variations. So creating your new universe, how Dr. Connie, you study like all these different studies, and then finding a different options, which even though that one option not giving a one single right answer, but using whole this comprehensive idea. So just giving that back, even though if after learning the functional medicine, you still choose to stay at your current job, that's still worth it, because that's the made a change. So it's like studying and finding a new opportunity for that is enough to finding a new path. And however you utilize your knowledge, you can stop the current job and do a new one, or you can stay on the current job, or doing a mixture of the new one. It will be actually really benefit and move your life more forward, and more being about your authentic self.
Yeah, I heard you say that it's like making your life and your skill set more colorful, you said. And I think that's a very great description. The way I see it, what I feel like why I created the functional yoga medicine is not only to say this is the only way, but I think the more skills that we learn, we can be more adaptable, and we learn how multifaceted our health is, that it's not just the labs, what the labs tell you, that it's far more profound. And like I said, there's always, we only see the tip of the iceberg. What's beneath it is so much more. Like, I really want to conclude with asking you, because I always talk about this about you. I think you're fascinating because I think you said 16 years old, you left the country. Is that right? Okay. So here's Hanbi. What's fascinating about her is, those of you who are a member at Functional Yoga Medicine and thinking about working with a practitioner, what's fascinating about Hanbi is that at 16 years old, she chose to leave Korea, the comfort of her own, family unit, which is not very typical, by the way, for my culture. So let me just put that out there. She chose to leave the country at 16 years old in high school to go to Philippines simply to learn the language. I think our country is very, very well-to-do, and I love my country, but also I know it's the rigors of study and the competitiveness and how we always have to have the edge. It's just second to none. As Hanbi said, she never knew this was not the norm, but that's how we live in Korea. I think so enamored with higher education. You left the country, and what really amazes me that you, at that young age, you studied in the Philippines. You didn't choose to go home after you studied. You came instead to the United States by yourself, in fact, to Tennessee to go to nursing school. After you graduate, and you don't even know anybody here. You just blindly came here by yourself, young person. And then you learned the language, you mastered the language, and then you went to nursing, and then you worked as a nurse for a while, and then decided, I'm going to go back to school, and got the NP degree, which is super hard, you guys. It's very competitive, let alone to study for that. And when your English is the second language, and I've had to go through it a lot younger than Hanbi. And whenever I talk to her, there is no buts about her. She's all seriousness. And what I can guarantee is these practitioners, especially Hanbi, she's really serious about your own well-being. And she's so committed that she takes her work home. And she cried to me in the studio talking to me about the frustrations. And it just goes to show she's degrading her health for the sake of the patients. And she really felt unfulfilled because she wasn't helping the patients. So I can tell you that Hanbi is going to see you through and walk you through getting from point A to point B, because she knows the medical side and she can handle that side. She can order labs and she can differentiate and do the diagnostic things. But then on the flip side, like she said, she's able to integrate the functional yoga medicine side to give you the practical skills. And she puts her lab coat off at my studio, and she'll be right there in your face, guiding you somatically, moving your body, helping you, adjusting you, because that's what we teach in functional yoga medicine certification program. So this podcast was to really, one, introduce Hanbi Hong as the person she is, because I think she's pretty amazing. And two, give you an opportunity to work with her if you so are inclined, because I know she's going to give you the optimal care, and she's available for patients right now. She would be eager to treat you. And three, for those people who are thinking about functional yoga medicine certification program, this is sort of like a testimony to how well the program is designed. Can I just ask you, Hanbi, final words about how the program is set up, how it really blends the East mysticism with a lot of the psychology and a lot of the enteric nervous system and the somatic nervous system, because this is the way I've been, how I come up with ideas. Like what Hanbi and us do at Functional Yoga Medicine is this program will teach you how to optimize enteric nervous system, which is your gut health. And then we can help you to regulate your autonomic nervous system. And then we're going to help you to enhance your somatic nervous system. That's your musculoskeletal system, so that you can have an empowered psychology going in, so that you can do and stick through and be committed to yourself. And that's what we call the EASE methodology. And I want Hanbi to speak about how real that is in the curriculum and the modules that's set up in the program.
So how I love what Dr. Coney's program part is that it's not just saying that intuitive eating gonna help you, mindful practice gonna help you, but in the first very beginning or the first third part of the program sets you up with the scientific, philosophical, and other historical knowledge about why. Reason behind why this is method, intrinsic program, somatic, your neurons, your body. So we cover extensive area of physiology and anatomy part, also with the philosophy part. So why from the ancient people or from Western medicine, Eastern medicine, people start thinking this way, integrating all this knowledge, and therefore this kind of intuitive eating, mindful practice, meditation will help in certain area along with other yoga posture. So it's not just giving you one tool. Hey, this gonna be helpful, try using it, but it really, Dr. Coney set a really comprehensive curriculum about setting up the idea, reason behind history to it. So once I start understand, learn about it, then I can, because we all gonna eventually use that tool to a real person. So before I use the tool, I just not only want to study about the tool, but want to know reason behind what's the supporting data. So those are all included in this comprehensive program. So that's why we really mostly love about this part.
So one of the things that I hope that this is what I did is you and I both have extensive school background, because we have a lot of education. And I felt like all the education that I had, even in functional medicine, through the Institute of Functional Medicine, everything is so compartmentalized. It's still dissecting and separating it, but there's so many facets to us. And I believe healing is not logical. It's not linear. And I think it's really miraculous how our bodies are designed. And I really wrote the program and really instilled the program so that it's practical. And I feel like it's something like, it's very unique to the program in that it's very applicable and it's easy to digest, but then it's really in depth, covering all the essential elements, broken down into kind of like what Hanbi said. Would you agree, Hanbi?
Yes.
Yeah, because I think in school, I memorized a lot and I know a lot. And do I use it today? No, I don't remember half the things in biochemistry class. And the remote memorization doesn't work unless we know the why and how it is applied in real life, So would you agree that that's what the program delivers? Okay. any final words for the potential future FYMCP students or patients who want to work with you?
Well, if you experience or will experience similar things, how I feel like I'm useless, being non-productive, unhealthy, or just repeating same things by daily basis, but it doesn't have to be that way. There, you could create or give some time creating different universe, and it's not gonna be a one single right answer. We are not searching for that, but being a more comprehensive, mindful about it. So if you're looking for that, then I would really recommend, with my own experience, to give it a try for this program.
What about to your patients?
To my patients,
Outside of the conventional medicine, like for the patient seeking functional yoga medicine.
so many patients or other people who could be frustrated with current, because they're now, it's like full of knowledge around here. Like you can just search on Google or use ChatGPT to whatsoever. So knowledge or information is not a problem in this world. But the thing with the insight, intention, and also with your own purpose of application of this part will be the current problem, because now there's so much knowledge and you don't know which one will be specifically right for you or more realistic to you. So with those kind of confusion, and here functional yoga medicine, I'm not saying that I know the everything. There's no way I'll know the everything. But here, like I have experience finding a different universe, applying these things to help myself, other people. So when you come and join us, we can start the journey together.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. So Hanbi has a handle on Instagram. You can find her on Instagram. What's your handle?
Handle?
Instagram. Yeah, Instagram ID. It's at, is it HH Hong?
Oh, no, that's my brother.
Okay. I got mixed up with your brother one time.
Yeah, well, I have my Instagram, but it's on my private account. So you will be able to see it. But then I also handle the our functional medicine Korean version Instagram. So we can do it together over there.
Yeah. Amazing. And you can also find her on functionalyogamedicine.com under practitioners. She's one of our functional yoga medicine certified practitioners, and you can request a visit with her there. And Hanbi, I just want to thank you so much for this time and for sharing you to our listeners. And you guys, this will be on YouTube as well as on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And the show notes will be linked below. And I will see you guys all next week. Thank you, Hanbi.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Mind Your Health podcast. If you enjoyed the episode, we would love, so much love it and appreciate it if you share it with someone who could benefit as well as to subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else where podcasts are found. And leave us a review. We would be so grateful, and it helps us to reach more people just like you, so you can become more empowered to enjoy longevity and health. You can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Dr. Connie Chung. And of course, you can subscribe to this podcast for a new episode every single week.